Peace, everybody. Welcome to Capital of Combat. The name says it all. I'm Hakeem Branch.
Rob Jarrell.
And today we're going to talk about this Saturday's HBO card, which has Lucian Bute and Jean Pascal in a battle of Canada, so to speak, in the light heavyweight division. And then we're also going to do a brief touch on Mike Perez versus Carlos Takam. Sorry about that. Go ahead and start us off, Rob.
All right, so this is probably going to be one of the biggest fights in Canada this year, because you have two guys at 175 who have been itching to fight each other for a few years now. And if you know Canadian events, especially boxing, this is going to be a jumping event. I mean, you're going to see a loud, raucous crowd that's going to support both fighters, and there's some money to be made, and there's some fireworks to be had. With these two fighters, you're going to see someone who throws a beautiful uppercut to the body in Lucian Bute, and you're going to see Jean Pascal, who could throw a hellacious right hand, especially an overhand right. Now, with the breakdown of these guys, they've taken their lumps. Lucian Bute, who went on a tear for about maybe 2 or 3 years, got his first loss against Carl Froch, in which he was thoroughly dominated. I mean, it was unexpected. Yeah. And then you had Jean Pascal, who has lost to Carl Froch. If I'm not mistaken, was it not Kelly Pavlik? It was
no, it was Bernard Hopkins.
Bernard Hopkins, and he was outclassed versus Bernard Hopkins. But he has beaten Chad Dawson. So and Lucian Bute has beaten just about anyone that you put in front of him except Carl Froch, except his fight against
Librado
Andrade, which he fought twice. He won the second fight handily, but that first one he got knocked down. And a
little questionable.
So he was winning that fight up until then.
Right.
But he kind of got the benefit of a long count.
Yeah. So with these guys, with both of them being they're both very good fighters. Jean Pascal has had a lot of comparisons to Roy Jones Jr. And honestly, when I first saw him, I was like, man, who's this Roy Jones wannabe? But he did something very smart. Last year, he went and he got Roy Jones Jr. himself to be his assistant trainer. So now he's got the person, and I mean, Pascal has said himself that he does emulate Roy Jones, and that's his idol. So him being able to be in his camp is probably like a kid in the candy store for Pascal. He's probably absorbing a lot of information. And he's only had one fight since Roy has been helping him out, and that was against George Blades. He looked pretty good in that fight.
But if I'm not mistaken, he hurt his shoulder in that fight.
I think you're talking about Adrian Diacono.
Well, against Adrian Diacono, he hurt his shoulder. He showed a lot of grit to pull out a win on that fight, fighting with one arm. And so you know he's tough.
Right. And with the exception of the Froch fight, even in that fight, Bute showed that he was tough too. I mean, he pretty much sat there in the pocket. He didn't change his style, not one bit until the end. And you know, the ref stopped the fight. So we got two guys with big hearts, two guys with very decent skill, and it's going to come down to how well each guy can set up their perfect punch. With Bute, as Rob said, it's the left uppercut to the body, and with Pascal, it's going to be that overhand right. Now, Pascal likes to move around the ring a lot. He'll give you different movements, he'll back up, run it, but when he decides to attack, he's going to be right in front of you.
That's right.
So he's going to move around, get in front of you, and then bull rush you with his combination, and then reset and do it again. So it's up to Bute to, one, time him coming in, and two, use a good jab to try and keep that movement a little bit at bay. Bute has a good jab. I don't know if his timing is that well with it to where he can really upset Pascal's rhythm. So he's going to have to catch him coming in, because I've never really seen Bute throw like a hard momentum stopping jab. He might have been working on that while he was off. He's been off with a hand injury. So that's one thing to look at. With Pascal, with him being a right-handed and Bute being a southpaw, that right hand is going to be very effective. He's going to have to learn how to fire it off of those angles rather than running straight at Bute. So with Roy Jones being in his corner, that should be something that he has learned, hopefully. And if he has, he should pull out the victory.
Now, with Pascal, and because Pascal is working with Roy Jones, Bute has had trouble with an awkward rhythm.
Yeah.
And you can see that in his fight with Carl Froch. Carl Froch is probably one of the most awkward fighters, hands down. He throws his punches not orthodox. He kind of throws it off a weird angle of just at a moment that you don't expect.
Right.
And that kind of disrupted him. And it's gonna be see who has a stronger will in this one, who has a stronger mental makeup. If you watch the fight with Bernard Hopkins and Pascal was discouraged. And his own rhythm was disrupted by the defensive prowess of B-Hop.
Yeah.
And he seems to kind of get discouraged. He wears his discouragement on his face. Yeah. If he's not successful, you could tell. Or he has a look of obvious confusion.
Right.
Well, Bute, ever since he took that beating from Carl Froch, he hasn't quite looked the same. In his last fight against, I cannot...
Denis Grachev.
Grachev, I was going to say Gradovich, and I know that's not him. Grachev, you could see him struggle. And Grachev is a guy who...
He's okay.
He's not a world beater. He's not a world beater. I mean, he was beaten by Delvin Rodriguez.
Yeah.
He was beaten by Delvin Rodriguez, who we know was thoroughly outclassed by Andre Ward. Nothing strange there. But to see him struggle with that kind of fighter, who is usually a tough fighter in your face, it kind of makes you wonder, can he deal with Pascal's athleticism, rhythm, and explosiveness?
Yeah, so that's what we're going to be looking for that fight. Tune in. The crowd atmosphere alone is going to make that a great fight. And then you got two good fighters. So sit down and enjoy that one. For the opening bout, we had the return of Mike Perez, who we last saw fighting Magomed Abdusalamov. And unfortunately, he ended up in a coma from that fight.
That's right.
So that might wear on Mike Perez mentally. One of the most famous cases of someone getting hurt in the ring and if mentally affecting a fighter is Ray Boom Boom Mancini and Ji-Hoon, is it Ji-Hoon Kim?
Ji-Hoon Kim, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's not it. Ji-Hoon Kim is that 135 guy.
No, it'll come to us later.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it down at the bottom because I really want you guys to check that out. So this is what we're going to be looking at from Mike Perez. How well did he recover from that fight? Now, he didn't take a lot of punishment, but the mental strain of knowing that you put a guy in the hospital almost ended his life, definitely ended his career. You know, that can tend to wear on a guy. And he's going against somebody who can punch in Carlos Takam, who's out of Spain, but from Cameroon.
That's right.
He's got a good glossy knockout record, but so did Abdusalamov. So we've seen Mike Perez take a punch. We've seen him give great punches. He's got good hand speed, very good defense for a heavyweight. We haven't seen that in a while.
Right.
Probably since like James Toney. But I mean, there's some other good defenders, but not recently. But the thing to look out for, like I said, is his mental makeup. The most notable of someone who injured their opponent in the ring and wasn't able to recover was Ray Boom Boom Mancini. If you ever look at that fight, his opponent, whose name we're gonna put down here, because right now I can't think of the name off the top of my head. I'll put it down here, but he died from the injuries of that fight. That's and right. Ray himself has said he was never the same after that. It took him a very long time to recover from the fact that he did kill a man in the ring.
And another one was Emile Griffith.
Oh yeah, that was a long time ago, long time
But
ago.
it did affect him after he killed his opponent in the ring, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, beat him to death. Was it Benny Perez?
Yes, Benny Perez.
That's crazy. I can remember that one, but I cannot remember the guy. I know it was an Asian guy, but I cannot remember his name for nothing.
Well, that's neither here nor there. We'll get it to everyone. But that's all we have for you today. Definitely check out the fight. I mean, it's going to be a great time. It's going to be action-packed. To be honest, I don't see the fight going the distance between Pascal and Bute. Late round stoppage. I got to give this one to Pascal. I think he just will be stronger as the fight wears on. Where Bute, if he cannot take the pressure and the athleticism of Pascal, I see him getting either knocked out or a TKO.
It's pretty sound judgment there. I was thinking maybe a decision, but I am going with Pascal. And I very well see him stopping Bute. I mean, he's really not a 175-pounder either. That's something else to look out for. So that stoppage is very, very possible.
Lastly, I mean, the winner of this fight, even though Adonis Stevenson is signed to fight Andres Fonfara for the belt, if he wins and whoever wins this will be big money in Canada.
Oh yeah, and I'm pretty sure that those two guys are gonna fight. Whoever wins this fight and Adonis Stevenson, yeah, that's gonna be the one right there. And then after that, then that winner takes on Kovalev. That's a great year right there for the light heavyweight division. Let's hope that all goes through.
And before we leave, we got to send out a big thanks to man out of Cali, JT Van V. He put one of our last videos, our recap of Broner Maidana, on his page, precisionstriking.ca. That's his website. He has plenty of videos, tutorials. He even has some apps and great videos on there. Check out his YouTube page. Great information for those who are beginners or those who, you know, are really just trying to move up through the amateur and pro ranks.
Yeah, that's it. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you go ahead and subscribe because we got plenty more videos. Check out our Facebook page, Capital of Combat. Our Google Plus page, same name. And comment on the video if you have anything that you want to say. You can send us an email at capitalofcombat@gmail.com if you got any questions for us. We'll answer it on, we'll make an episode answering your questions. And that's it. Once again, thanks, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
This is round one, and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming and cost. My fists are on fire. I perform till I perspire. My demons are in a rage. Keep thinking that it's a game. I kick crime, hurricane. I told them I don't play. I'm liquid.
Black Street Fighters.